Wherever you are, Alex, it's pretty.
Hi guys,
Hey Philip, how's it going?
it's going good. Can't
Okay.
complain. How about you?
Yeah, it's doing all right. You know, down in Mexico, nothing like a little cartel unrest to spice up a vacation.
Yeah, that always sounds good.
You're kidding.
No, no. Uh, come down for the weekend, get a few burning buses and some cars.
Yeah. At
That's
least you have a good swing.
yeah, exactly.
Are you safe down there? What is? Do I
Look,
even want to know?
I've got a nice warm cup of tea. Oh, nothing could be finer. It's excellent. We're perfectly safe. Reminder in the Slack channel that we're starting up. The main topic today will be the paper, yeah? Let's just make sure that people have the thing. Book. Going through the white paper.
I owe Sabrina an email to break up that paper.
Yeah, I got her to jump on this on CNCF Slack.
Oh,
Um,
great.
so that you could communicate with her. Let's see if she's there.
Also known as harass. Okay.
Sabrina Deleva. Yes, exactly. Yeah, she's there. Sabrina Deleva.
All right. I have asked her to do so.
Lovely. All right. Well, might be a little core group today, which might be good um, for this topic. Hopefully, people aren't still going to the old Zoom. Does
I was there.
Oh, really? Eek. Um, does somebody want to pop on to the old Zoom and see if anybody's still there?
I
I can.
was there a minute ago. Nobody else.
Oh, it's funny. I don't. That's Victor, right?
Yeah, I was there a minute ago and nobody else.
Oh, this is super weird. On my participants list,
Right. Yeah.
you are listed as me.
Yes.
Uh, that is super fun. Oh, I know why. Because I put the link that probably includes my credentials or something. Everyone's going to show up as Alex Gammon. That is awesome. I am going to have to edit that right now. Username does not equal Alex Gammon. Okay.
I should have done something then blame you.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. Where is it? I got it. I got it. Okay. That will work. That will be better. I could tell who you were, Victor, but I was like, but he's not there. Cool. Well, maybe we should just bring up the paper and see where it's at.
Okay, I can share, I think. Will it let me? Yes, it will.
Nice.
All right, can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Good. So we've been working for a while on this. Real big call out to Sabrina for keeping us. We should probably regenerate this. Yeah. And for keeping us kind of on track as far as structure. But we've been running these meetings once a week and we go through all the issues and we assign work and then we come back the next week and some percentage of that work has been completed and we do it again. The way we currently have it structured is the authors are up here, and those are just the people that have been actively working in this working group. But because there was a previous version of this and other people have added some content, there's a lot here. We also have additional contributors down here. Some people can list their name twice. I don't care one way or another. Here, let me put the link of this in the chat in case people want to go play with it. Ha. One thing that we did find out the fun way is that this is too long. They want us to break this up into 4 papers because we live in the new distraction culture, which is fine. So I have an ask to Sabrina to figure out how to do that cleanly. We did clearly define scope, so
How long is it right now?
35 pages.
Doesn't seem that long for.
I know, but they have a policy of no more than 10.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I mean, that actually makes our job on future white papers much simpler. You know, I think our bent is to like get into the details and like really work on the thing, and I think that's actually what's held us back, because all of us know how deep and complex all of this is. But if you've only got 10 pages to work with, you have an introduction, you have a conclusion. All right, you're down to 8 pages. You know, so.
Don't forget references and stuff. 7.
Oh, you think references are even included in the? No, surely not. Bibliography is always extra, surely.
I don't know.
Okay.
Just
But
don't include references.
The which one?
don't include references.
Yeah, true. Solves that problem.
The interesting parts are both what is in scope, which is basically we focus only on scheduling. We did not we did enumerate challenges, but we didn't go into depth on each of these challenges. We cataloged the tools. There's a very nice table that is pretty clear on what lives where at this point. And there's some guidance. But the autoscope is also interesting because part of what we, when we finish a paper, what are we doing next? Details, tutorials, I'm assuming other people are doing that. But multi-cluster scheduling, I know that we have some tools like Armada, and there's another one that are doing that work. So I think probably what follows is to start working on other papers on those items. Alex, did you have something to say?
No, somebody's just bringing me food.
Oh, how nice.
Yes.
Okay. But there's also model architecture or training techniques. I don't think that's under the batch purview. This might be fun. Cost optimization. Could even say energy optimization too. And then security and multi-tenancy. That's still a thing that I think is in process with a lot of these systems. Let's see, we have an hour. Context, we have all these. We have long-running jobs, tightly coupled. Topology is a big one. We could probably write a paper just on topology if we get a whole 10 pages. Cost of resources. I noticed we didn't put in memory, but memory maybe should be mentioned in here because memory is currently hard to get a hold of. And then life cycle stages. And we say, go ahead.
Last Friday, Alex was not available, so Carlos from IBM gave a presentation to the OCP community about LRMD. So he obviously it's probably every solution have a scheduler, so he also talked about scheduler. So what's the difference?
Which scheduler did he talk about?
It's a scheduler. I'm not sure it's tightly coupled to LRMD or it's a separate scheduler for LRMD.
For R&D, are you saying, or is it? Are you
LLMD, which is basically actually Abstract is on that project too, right?
is Abby still there? Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm here.
LLMD. Sorry, I see. You're talking about LLMD. Got it. I heard something else. Yeah. Well, Abby, do you want to take that question about like what's different about LLMD as opposed to all these other schedulers?
Yeah, I mean, LLMD scheduler is a request scheduler, right? So it schedules inference requests onto different pods. It's not a pod scheduler.
Yeah, and it's or not a batch scheduler as traditionally batch scheduler. Like people are making requests at request time through their chatbot AI, sorry, chatbot UI, and something needs to serve that request, and it both looks like a familiar web request API, but it also has similarities with the kind of hardware and the kind of things that you would need in a batch setup. So it's, in my mind, it's somewhere in between. It's like there's a Venn diagram, and LLMD is a scheduler that
Yeah.
kind of in between them all. You know?
So yeah, that's actually my impression. How to tell the difference? So LMD is primarily for inference workload. So it could be a very short inference job, somebody typing on a prompt, for example. I'm not sure if this actually use case enough for LMD, but there could be also someone submitting a batch job which need kind of inference work done, right? So how do you in that case is that a batch job? Is that basically let me ask another way. Is scheduling for RMD, is that in scope for this working group?
For this paper, I think that's out of scope. I think the way that Abby just termed it was that that's a request scheduler, and so if we're going to define it as a different thing, we can leave it safely out of this white paper for now. Is LLMD in here somewhere? Or I don't. Yeah, Abby says thumbs up.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Sabrina says she'll join in a minute and she'll work on splitting this up.
Cool.
which is
Lovely. Yes.
really great because we got this far. So in the future, we know I I am going to go back and ask them to publish that clearly somewhere because getting this far in the paper and then being told, and also was a little okay. I do think we'll still manage to release it before KubeCon EU.
Yeah.
Actually, in this paper, is it actually specified anywhere that request scheduling is out of scope and why?
I mean, we have a emerging technologies or whatever you call in this paper a section where we mention about inference and other things, but um, we leave it, yeah, emerging patterns, and we leave it right there.
I mean, you could add a couple words to the line that's out of scope and just say inference methods.
I think
You say
we
training.
said ML, we say ML model architecture or training.
Yeah, training
We could
technique
add.
or inference techniques, like training or inference techniques, something.
It's so clunky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I just look at this alone, then my question is, if both training and inference out of scope, is it about AI?
It's about scheduling.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's a cognitive AI white paper. So other than training and inference, what do you consider AI scheduling?
It's a good question. I think so. It's the scheduling for training, but it's not the training itself. So if you scroll down to what's out of scope there, the distinction there is like a training technique is like what you write in your PyTorch thing to train your model. But then you have to schedule that training with a scheduler. And we're talking about the scheduling through some scheduler, not the PyTorch or the TensorFlow or the Horovod training thing. Like it's not the model code, it's the scheduling of the model code.
So back to the RMD case, that scheduler is scheduling, not the inference, scheduling for inference job, not inference technique itself. At least that's my
It's scheduling
impression.
for a request job, correct?
Scheduling
mean,
for, okay.
Like
Abhishek, maybe can clarify this. Is there a difference here?
Yeah, there is absolutely different. So what I think what Alex said, right? Like you have to have the infra ready, right? So think of like pod as becoming the lower level infra for inference. Like where do you place this pod and what order they come up with, and like what is the topology and what GPU they can consume and what networking they consume. Like that is all part of infra. So once your pods are stood up, now you have bunch of candidates that can serve a request. So when request comes to LLMD, then LLMD does its own intelligent thing and says, hey, request, if you go to this pod, then you will get the least latency. Hey, request, if you go to this pod, then you will get less cost. Hey, request, if you go to this pod, then you'll get the highest throughput. So it's the infra is there, right? But I think this paper is talking about bootstrapping of the infra, right? Like,
so
okay,
I do see what you mean, Victor, that like yes, there are two different types of workloads that need to be scheduled. One is for training and that kind of thing, and one is for inference and requests that are coming in. But we're explicitly calling out, just because you pointed this out, like we're calling out the fact that we're avoiding the requests and the inference workloads. So we're scheduling just for the first part of stuff.
Yeah, I think that would be great to document that. That would be really useful, even for me to understand it. Abhishek, if something you can add.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is all good perspective. So yes, we can add a line maybe, like, because we don't have you know things to add very like the verbosity should be less, right? That's what I'm trying to say, because of the length constraint that we have. So we can add a I'll take a to do, like, Marla, I'll take a to do on me, and I'll add a line or two on this.
Yeah, that would be great. Same thing actually for training. Originally, my impression is this is about other than bring up the, understand the topology, move the workload to the proper node, etc. It will also consider the actually training techniques per se to, because you have to understand the technique to be able to schedule properly. That's my original impression. Since this is not the case, probably need to clarify. Give you an example. Um, for reinforcement learning, for example, right? So in reinforcement learning, you not no longer have the traditional the RL training technique. You also have inference as part of it, right? So it's no longer just say, okay, now I got like a 60 node, I don't know, 100 CPU, GPU. I just store them on it. I also need to understand what is the technique in this case, the reinforcement learning technique. Is there any mixed expert involved, and what is the training algorithm, and how do I move things around to make the algorithm works for this infrastructure?
Yes. Uh, in a 10-page white paper that we're laying out like this, like, I don't know that I would be expecting to get into all of the varieties of different training approaches and what you need to do. Like, I mean,
I'm not saying adding the
how many caveats? Like, so
yeah.
let's scroll back up just a little bit, Marlo. Um, like, what this paper does. No, no, I just wanted to start on the beginning of that page. Um, um, the executive summary. If I was to read this and the purpose and the scope, I feel like I get a fairly good idea of what this is going to be and what this is not going to be. And I don't. For me, I'm not worried that I'm going to get into. Well, they're not. They're not going to discuss uh, training technique. Like,
Oh no, no, I don't
yeah,
mean need to get into training. Just like the RMD case, there is kind of blurred lines between the two, right? So it'd be good to make the audience, the readers, understand it from that discussion that Abhishek's going to write about. Same thing for training. It just need to clarify what is in scope, what is not, and why. It can be just a very short paragraph. Yeah, it doesn't need to go into the details like, reinforcement learning, how to actually do it.
yeah. I'm starting to think of what else needs to be added here. Maybe somebody else can suggest. Where did it go? Nine. Oh, I see. I mean, maybe the thing to do rather than hold up the meeting is to add a comment to that effect, Victor, and we can discuss it.
Okay.
Um, all right. Does that take us to context, Marlo?
I think so. I think we ran through this. Yeah. So we're already a little out of date because now they're adding the workload type. So we may have to do an update at some point. Hello, Sabrina.
Hello,
because
didn't want to interrupt. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
The default Kubernetes scheduler does not handle gang scheduling prior to this 135. So they're adding workload API, but we haven't added that in here because that's still new.
I mean, since we know about it, we might be able to just point to a doc or something. Like, you know, note there are changes in this space kind of thing. Just to seem like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, you do know what you're talking about. You're pointing at it now, so might as well add a note to it.
Yeah, I'll do that. We did talk about how to read this paper and how we're organized. There's some suggested pre-reading, which is good.
Nice.
Which I think, Sabrina, did you add that section?
Yeah, I did. There was some information in the older version of the document, but I thought it was useful to put it here at the top.
Cool.
Super useful. And then we have some talk about understanding AI workloads, how the data prep works, and model development works, what model training is, and then what inference is. We do talk about batch and real time and emerging patterns, and we intentionally kept this brief because this is such a huge area that we could write hundreds of pages on this. So by which I mean to say many tens of single papers.
Mm-hmm.
We have left comments that people weren't at the meetings to resolve themselves because I don't want to resolve for them.
Sorry, say that again. You want other people to get back to them, or?
We've gotten back to them, but there's been no response.
I see.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Then we talk about what makes AI workloads different and like all the very specific thing. This is fun. Massive resource consumption, that is fun. You know, just all the different areas that make it a little different. Topology is a thing that maybe we could write an entire paper on. You know, see Tim's discussions and how well attended those are. And we have some nice charts, resource characteristics by life cycle stage, and the duration each one is. So we have training, data preparation, feature engineering, fine-tuning, batch, and then real-time inference, you know, is continuous. The difference between training and real-time inference.
So we do have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we actually talk about it then? Maybe it is in scope. Is this talking about inference workloads or no?
We have training. Here's training, and then inference is here.
So we do actually talk about that stuff. I was wrong. We talk about it from the standpoint of like platform engineers. Inference scaling spans multiple layers. Yeah.
Yeah, this cold start trade-off is kind of a big deal from what I've seen, because it takes so long to load these things.
Curious, Victor, whether this actually changes your opinion of the scope at all. Did we lose Victor? Oh, no.
I mean, I see Alex twice still.
Yeah, I can't change the name. All right, well, we'll come back to that.
Different types of scheduling. Job level, pod level, task level, request level. So that's very specific to what we just discussed with LLM.
I noticed that we're already on page 12 here.
Yep.
So, Sabrina, I don't know if you heard the news, but we have to keep white papers to 10 pages maximum, which means we're going to have to get into, like, almost 10 pages is almost just the introduction to, like, the rest of the white paper. So, where do we break it
Yeah.
up is going to be the
I was gonna let Sabrina take a good crack at it and then go from there. Because
Okay.
like this might be a good stage for the next one, to be honest. Scheduling fundamentals is kind of a nice clear.
Yeah, like having a white paper, like an intro white paper, and then a scheduling fundamentals white paper, and then yeah, okay. Yes, let us.
We go 10 down just for funsies. Yeah, I would start here for the next one for topology. Maybe not. Or scheduling challenges.
Yeah,
That could be its own. And then
infrastructure
we may have to
consideration.
do 5. We may have to do 5. Or we can bundle infrastructure in with a different one and then do solutions as its own paper.
Yeah, all right.
What do you think, Sabrina?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Would you also like to try to summarize this into only one paper that's 10 pages long? Because
No,
I'm just wondering how, okay.
no,
Yeah, we would cut out a lot of
absolutely not.
information if we did that. Okay.
No, there's just too much content to compress because this is pretty brief as it is. We've already made some challenges, or some sacrifices, compromises, as far as making sure that we don't have an overflow of content.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Then I agree that probably the best way to go is to split this into 4 or maybe even 5 sections and make them individual papers.
Yeah. I need to go ahead. I need to also make sure all these lists are alphabetical so that we don't look like we're prescribing something over another.
Yeah, a while ago I did that to make sure that everything is alphabetical. I'm not sure if there were any changes after that point. But
No, we
for
have
the
this.
most part, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But I can do this. This is And then this is a nice table, challenges to solutions. And then we kind of have a flow chart of how to choose a scheduling stack. We've removed references to particular projects in there. So that's unbiased.
What, you mean like we shouldn't just. Oh, actually, no, there's Slurm still there?
Slurm is its own thing. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, says the person who came from SCED-MD.
I
now
know
at
that, but
NVIDIA.
even with my open source hat, I don't know what to do about this. Because if you're already, if you have a population that's already used to doing current HPC and doing Slurm deployments, how much work do you want them to do to put other products in?
I mean,
it literally says you have users that need Slurm. That is,
yeah, I mean, there are, I suppose, people using LSF and PBS that are probably having the same questions. We could just say, use a traditional HPC scheduler. We could just turn it to that. If we want to.
Yep.
If we want to play totally fair.
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to go modify this if you want.
Okay.
I
will.
wasn't sure what else to do here because
Yeah.
a lot of the use cases are people are running on Slurm.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I might just change that to.
we have one outstanding item for Aiken who did a whole bunch of work, so shout out to her. There you go. So that's where we are right now. And then we have a conclusion.
That looks good. Any thoughts from the audience?
One point. Marlo, as you mentioned, training jobs can take days to months. Will checkpointing and retries be in the scope of the document?
Not in this one, because I think that's its own thing. I do know that Slurm has checkpointing, which is why probably one of the many reasons people are using Slurm underneath. But Kubernetes checkpointing still, to my understanding, at least when I last looked, has a long way to go. Someone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I know people are looking at it.
Agreed. So, yeah, just when talking about these 10 pages, what will then be the scope of this original document? Since it will be cut a lot, so just trying to wrap my head around.
We're not cutting. We are splitting. So it'll be four papers, each of 10 or less.
Understood. So this will not be an overview of everything. It will be just the first. Okay, thanks.
No, so we'll have, so basically the intro becomes paper one. And they wanted it so they flow into each other. Sure. So basically,
when does this document get released?
We're aiming pre-KubeCon. We are end of February now, so probably in a week or two, as soon as we can get all of Sabrina's edits in, then we'll throw it at the talk and let them review and then go from there.
Right on.
It sounds good. Yeah. If it's okay, I can put different tabs inside this same link so that we don't have like a bunch of papers, a bunch of different links to review.
Yeah, please, yeah. And we have been keeping up with meeting notes-ish. I don't think we did the last ones. Yeah, we totally didn't. But the last one was just a working meeting. We just ran through all the items. So at this point, we're no longer talking. We're just making sure we're in place. Thank you, Sabrina.
Yeah.
So I think we're ready here. Yeah. I think we're almost ready here. So that'll be nice. We'll have produced a thing.
Yeah. Well, many things, as it turns out. We will have gone from one
to four.
Batch, yeah, we've gone from one batch landscape to 6 documents all of a sudden. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Additionally, Philip and James have started looking at the benchmarking stuff. So that there will probably be more soon there. And I do have a response from the Green Reviews people, so I need to follow up with them and find a time to meet with them. And I'll just take you with me.
Yeah, one note is that we're gathering all the documentation. I started last week, so right now I'm going through the resources that we have right now. It's good to start with it with James and Marlo. So yeah, we'll keep this group posted.
Awesome. Thank you so much for helping James along there, Philip. Yeah, really appreciate it.
And there is a Green Reviews infrastructure that the sustainability group had, so they're gonna at least one of them has responded, so we should be able to actually get some work done without having to rewrite a framework. To be nice.
I want to see, is Victor still on? Victor.
Yeah, see it here.
Turns out we do actually talk about inference workloads further down. I was going to take off the inference techniques, the what is out of scope thing. I was going to revert it to what it was before. Because it feels, I don't know, how do you feel about that? Like, it feels like we do address it in the scope of this paper, which is all about the, you know, the infrastructure, the platform.
I feel it's different layers of scheduling. So it's good for this paper to clarify the scope and why some are not in the scope.
Well, but it is in scope, is what I'm saying. Like, we do talk about it later.
Yeah, for example, the LRMD request scheduling is that in scope?
Yeah, we talk about it. We talk about inference workloads, which is LLMD, but we talk about it in the context of this paper, which is, you know, the infrastructure and the platform for scheduling. Skip down to that again, Marlo. Model inference. That, you know, just up. Isn't it just up? The disaggregated architecture, the emerging patterns, that if you scroll up a little bit more, I think it's inference. Yeah, I mean, here's one chunk about inference stuff. But it's talking about, again, the angle is on the infrastructure and the platform for scheduling, rather than the many multivarious approaches to inference and sort of situations where you would need inference itself. And I think there's another part. Is that the other part?
Is this new? The request level scheduling?
No, not. It's definitely there before this meeting. So, yeah, I feel like we've, you know, we acknowledge it and we talk about it. You know, we define it here. I feel like the section that we came upon that I hadn't noticed before was a different bit. Let me see if I can find it. One sec.
So maybe the actual detailed case project to compare. For example, Kai Slurm versus the LRMD scheduler. I guess what's the difference, if there is a difference? Maybe they're doing similar things, but if there is difference, what is the difference?
We can get Abhi back and talk about that for a while, I suppose. You know, we do have in the table of mapping challenges to solutions, there are a bunch of like inference request scheduling and inference request. I don't know whether we have, yeah, LLMD inference scheduler is listed on page 27. And you know, we have some words here as to like what the difference between a request-based scheduling is. That was a page that Marlo just had up. And here's a table where, like, based on what your particular need is with scheduling, like you might end up using LLMD for inference request scheduling as opposed to resource heterogeneity or topology awareness or gang scheduling, or has some gang scheduling in it, but preemption, like it might not be the thing that you would reach for in those more traditional HPC workloads, but if you have inference request scheduling, we have a table, there's a potential solution for you.
Yeah, actually, I looked at this table before, didn't forgot about it. But yeah, so I guess to me at least, kind of you can say almost an outsider view is it'd be great. This is great information in detail. It will be even nicer, better if we have a kind of a category, right? Where like because traditional for people who think of scheduler, Slurm is the long time established scheduler kind of almost kingpin in the past, right? So there's so many new schedulers, which is similar to Slurm and which is not. Like, I guess can it be grouped into kind of a higher level abstraction sort of categories? This way, we know we like if we group the Slurm, Chi, GAN, all that together, what do we call it? And the other things like such as I know RMD is the scheduler is different. It's not for training, but if we group that with something else, what do we call it? I guess that's my question.
Hold on one
So
second.
we can
Victor,
do that. I kind of want my question answered first, though. My question was, we do talk about inference workloads, right? I'm just trying to assert that. And I was going to revert the line that says we don't talk about inference workloads just to what it was before. Just so that doesn't get lost, I just want to assert that I'm going to go back to doing that. Okay, good. The thing that you're talking about is, not dissimilar from the like CNCF landscape thing that we did once upon a time, trying to like guide people towards particular solutions. That's kind of what this table is trying to do as well, like suggest solutions, guide people a little bit towards what people want to do. It sounds like you have another idea for a categorization. Maybe it's something that we build into the landscape thing that we have built once upon a time, because we can do that with labels and things. I'm trying to see what the utility in this document is. Like, is this document fully trying to guide people towards a specific solution for specific things, or is it just talking about, as I think it is, the levels of complexity of this this ecosystem? And I think it does that second part pretty well.
It's about the levels of complexity, but also if you are trying to do this sort of workload, I mean, that's what the table does, right? Then look into these schedulers. But it also does try to enumerate the complexities and what problems are having to be solved in this space.
I mean, I'm trying to hear you from the outsider's perspective, as you say. Like, if I was an outsider coming to this, I mean, you're saying I want to know that we're talking about this, not that, but I feel like it's saying that, and I'm losing.
Yeah, maybe I think Tommy has something to say. Maybe I him say it first before
no,
I.
yeah, I think Alex, you were kind of hit on the head. Is that when I stare at the landscape visual, like my kind of more simple-minded approach is take a look at that and couple it with papers like this. So, Victor, when you're talking about various angles of how we're describing things, is I kind of mix and match a bunch of documents here to get a better understanding. I don't know if I'm going to get all the understanding that I need on one particular topic from, this one paper here. So, just don't know if that color would help at all, Victor. But
yeah,
like I stare at two or three things and I'm like, oh, okay, this, okay,
so,
and then,
maybe put it another way. Let's say I'm not even, because I think I'm a kind of a semi-technical on this topic and not
Sure.
insider, but been listening to you guys a lot, so I know a little bit. So let's say I'm a decision maker. I'm gonna buy a scheduler or buy a product that comes with a scheduler. I need to, and when I looked at table, this is cool. This is cool stuff. I got a lot of information, but I need a simpler category kind of thing to compare things. For example, if you go to that table, can you move that table, Alex? Um, so this table give me a lot of good information. It is more than I can digest being because this is the first time I heard about scheduler, right? So why you think like for example queue management um the actually let's choose another one priority scheduling no that's everything. Let's make things something that does not have a lot of entries on there, reservation and backfill. Right now only Kai, Slinky, and Volcano has it, right? So what will prevent YuniKorn from adding that feature, right? They might, right? So, so then for me to compare side by side, I need to understand what's their role. Is this because they're specialized on something, or they're simply it should be compared side by side. They're just missing that feature. So for me as an outsider, it give me a when you group those similar project together, it give me a easier side by side compare opportunity.
I mean, what I hear in your question is like, there is more work to be able to to articulate all of the differences between these things. And yes, you're right. But we have to draw the line somewhere, I'm afraid. We ran into this exact same problem when we were doing the batch landscape, was that it felt very, very difficult to figure out how to slice and dice all of the millions of different schedulers that we had to talk about. And we eventually ended up on a very... sorry, there's a military helicopter flying overhead. Pay it no mind. There's just a cartel uprising going on around the corner. It's fine. Now that the military escort has passed, we had to draw the line at some point on the scheduling landscape thing, and it was fairly coarse. It was like, Q is core Kubernetes. These things are like Kubernetes native, and these things are traditional HPC things. And that's pretty unsatisfying, really, to all of us who know the specifics around all of these schedulers. And that you're right, there are particular times where you use one versus the other, and why would you do anything? And we just had to start at a particular place. We had to say, like, okay, look, here's a landscape. You, the decision maker, are going to have to do some research of your own to figure this out. But at least we've got a starting point where we've coalesced all of the words, all of the names of these things together in a single place, so that somebody has a starting point. And I would suggest that like these 10-page white papers are not going to be a panacea, a solution, or an explanation of all of this world to everyone. They're merely starting points. And so with that context,
I just ask a follow-up question. I understand, I fully understand. Definitely,
Yeah.
there need to be a scope, otherwise it will never end.
Yeah.
So for this table on the screen right now, which scheduler works with the RMD scheduler, and why is complementary rather than overlapping?
Well, I think Kubernetes itself, LLMD is sort of its own scheduler, right? It does its own thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's an Abhishek question. I guess that need to maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it just seems like that, right? So there are other schedulers that did not participate, or is probably not in scope for this, but that yeah. So there'll be question like that. Again, I fully understand there needs to be a scope. Yeah.
sorry, I heard nothing. There was a helicopter.
How about we have Abhishek go over this topic next meeting?
That'd be great. Okay.
Okay.
Speaking of which, because we're coming up to time, we have one more meeting. I think we might be able to get John Bellamaric coming as well. Is that right?
Yeah, he was willing to come.
Cool. And that was all on the DRA stuff that we've been talking a lot about recently. So suggest everyone come back to that. We can absolutely have Abby talk a little bit about where L&D fits in to Victor's specific question. I think, Victor, if you want to chat more about what you still see as lacking, happy to chat offline. But otherwise, yeah, next 2 weeks from now, DRA. I think the one after that is KubeCon, or so I think we have one more. We'll skip, and then we'll come back to Kevin talking about workload management, and then maybe topology awareness if we can get Tim back after that. So that's the lineup.
Tim will come back if we ask him.
Okay, cool. If they ask him, if we, yeah.
If we ask him, yes.
Yeah. So that's what we got on tap. Some good conversations coming up. What else? Anything else? James and Philip, thank you for doing the benchmarking stuff. Sabrina, thank you very much for putting this paper together. Thank you in advance for tearing it apart and making it 17 new papers, as is now commanded back to us.
Alex.
Yeah. So, cool. Perfect. Well, good meeting. Thank you, everyone, for going through it. Thank you, Marley, for leading it. And
No problem.
We'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you.
Stay safe, please.
Yeah, whatever. Just a little unrest.
Okay. Bye.
See you all. Bye.
Thank you. See you guys.
See you. Thank you.